Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this, a special presentation of RaceSpotTV on iRacingLive. This is the third round of the Finnish Sim Racing Championship, which is brought to you by the Finnish Sim Racing Association. Wilmington, along with Johnny Simone here on RaceSpotTV, not far away from this race getting underway. Well, these guys have already had the chance to go and do themselves some qualifying. They've had themselves a chance to do some heat races as well. This is the featured event here at the impeccably pristine, arduous, difficult Suzuka circuit. These drivers have got a 45-minute race. They're going to go as fast as they possibly can, but they're going to have to make themselves a pit stop along the way as well. Having a look at practice, there is Ruku Alatalo in the number 80 Glacier racing car. You can see he's going to work himself past some traffic as they come down into the triangle. That was a nice little move there done in this practice session. And Johnny, after running some qualifying, after running some heat races, people often think, what's the point in doing it all over again? Track conditions, they change. They've changed here, and that's going to make things very interesting to see how drivers will adapt to the conditions, which are slightly overcast for this feature event.
Yeah, we see different lap times all the time with different weather conditions, especially evident for those guys who race for the Indianapolis 500, half a second to a second just based on temperature. And the same way here at Suzuka, drivers who might have understeer issues will have oversteer issues with different weather conditions. Who knows how things play out? It's good to see so many Finns out there here ready to compete and ready to have fun.
Yeah, as you can see, these drivers are literally now 2 minutes away from heading themselves down to the starting grid. Let's have a look at another driver. That is Yaratari in the number 765 machine. Let's right on board with him then as he works himself up through the S's. And Johnny, this sequence of corners, it's one of the most difficult in the world. It's right up there with Maggots and Beckett at Silverstone and the first sector circuit of the Americas. You've got to nail every apex perfectly, otherwise just throw a second down the toilet.
Yeah, it's exactly true. It's very hard to recover once you make a mistake at the S's. It's not impossible, but you are going to lose time if you do have to recover. As Yari right now heads towards the Degner curves. I love Degner 1. You throw that car into the corner, you can see the rear end sliding as well. And then we're going to see a lot of people here, Will, on the exit of Degner 2 get caught out, trying to apply that throttle and gain traction. And what about the hairpin? Who will have the guts to throw it up the inside? All to see in a minute and a half's time as Yari spins around.
Yeah, he loops it there. Don't forget, commentary is also available on Finnish. On Finnish? In Finnish. That's the phrase I was looking for if you head over to Glacier TV. Well, we're not far away then. Just having a look at the last couple of drivers now who are circulating. We've got Tommy Haka. There you see him, the number 91 car heading himself past start-finish line. Have a look on board, and there you can see a view inside the helmet. Brought to you by Antoine Design, the official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV. Our aerial coverage is also brought by them. Our onboard coverage is brought to you by the iRacing Forum app for Android as well. Johnny, we're going to have a look through your starting grid now as these drivers are getting themselves down. Actually, we can't for another 43 seconds.
No, we can't.
We will then take you through your starting grid for this this afternoon's event. It's morning in your world. It's afternoon in mine.
Yeah, early morning for me here in Australia, but nobody really cares. They're all Finnish out here. The good thing about the Finnish community is that they have one of the strongest nations in the sim racing world. And don't forget, in the real racing world, plenty of talents, apart from today's catastrophic overtaking maneuver by Kimi Räikkönen. Apart from that, the Finnish world has a lot of strong racers, as I just mentioned. What about Klaus Kubikas out there in P1? Former World Championship Road Series race winner, and he's a savant in these GT cars. So now racing here today, I want to see how he fares and how he's going to go around Suzuka.
Don't forget, he was one of the elements that helped make up an incredible win for Commander Simsports yesterday in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. There is a look up above then, and let's have a look through your starting grid for this, the third round of the championship. As you will see out on front, it is going to be the driver of, there we are, it's coming up, I promise there, Klaus Kubikas on pole position. Then you got yourself Rico Alatalo in second, Tommy Hacker in third, Alexia Loma in fourth. It's a big grid. We're just going to get it running along your screen right now. Johnny, turn one at this racetrack can be so difficult.
Yeah, and traversing away through the S's on the first lap is going to be difficult as well. Rico Alatalo there in P2. What can he do? He needs a strong start to grab first. That's the important thing for him.
Well, there you can see your field are pretty much already lined up on your grid. Over 30 drivers participating here at this magnificent racetrack. 40 in total that we know as Suzuka. There's a look then at this magnificent racing facility. We're waiting now for the lights to go on, the engines to get revving. We are ready for action. Coanda, Glacier, front row of the grid, lights are on. We are underway here, and we've got one car already almost going into the grass, but the cars storming down in towards turn number one for the first time, and it's going to be Kivikas on the outside, but on the inside, Rico Alatalo is looking for the race lead, and I think he might well be able to get that as they work themselves through the S's for the first time. No, it's going to be Kivikas who will lead as they come through the S's for the first time. There you can see lower proportion of your field making it through turn number one and through the S's without any incident. Having looked through the mirror part of your field, and it does look as though that for the time being everyone is able to get themselves going a line astern, but Alatalo was not able to get that race lead on lap number one, Johnny.
The only positive for Alatalo is that he's still in contention for that race win. He just has to avoid Alexia Loma throwing it up the inside here at the hairpin. Has to defend his position as they go through on towards the hairpin for the first time around. And there we go. Tommy Hacker, who started in third position, dropped down to fifth as well. Bogged down straight across the line.
Yeah, there is a look on board with Hacker. You can see speed's already up to 230 kilometers an hour. This isn't a straightaway on the run down into Spoon Curve, but this is a very difficult part of the racetrack. Anyone who saw the World Championship Series here just a couple of weeks ago will know that you can pass into Spoon Curve if your name's Matt Backham. Just don't do it on the run down on the exit of the 130R unless you know the driver is going to give you a little bit of a room. Let's go back on board then with Alatalo. Battle for the race lead. It's 7/10 of a second right now. Actually, it's come a little bit less. A good run for the 130R there for Rico Alatalo. Drivers heading themselves then down to complete their first lap. We've got two drivers who are classified as out of the event so far. They're Hanno Valem and Yuri Sarajevo. We'll try and figure out what happened to those two drivers as soon as we can, Johnny.
Yeah, we hopefully will later on, but at the end of the first lap, as you mentioned, Kivikas still leads away. A few drivers trying to go side by side through 130R. Bit of a battle here down the order. I think that's Arto Imaki up the inside of maybe Joni Hagner here. Will he get the drive here for P9 and P10? Oh, he's starting to get loose on the curb. He needs to control himself, and he does indeed. So there we go, car off the racetrack.
Yeah, trying to figure out that's real down the pack. We've now got a car off the racetrack. We'll try and figure out who that one is. But Aki in the number 421 car all the way down the field at the very rear end of the pack. We've got ourselves some nice battles going on up and down through your field. But let's move ourselves closer towards the front of the field, if we can, for just one moment. And this is a strap for P number 12 and P number 13. This is Yusuf Tonti in a number 51 car on board of him. This is with Danger number 2, and you can see these drivers are being very careful over that curb. Number 21 machine of Christian Lindroff looking to the outside now of Kim Eriksson as they come down in towards the hairpin. Nice 4-5 way battle going on. These drivers looking for track position, almost going to be too wide coming out of the hairpin on the run down into Spoon.
Yuso in P13, very smart, picked the line that was free, then he tried to tuck into the slipstream of not the guy ahead, the second guy ahead of him, that was P11, Kim Eriksson, tried to get that slipstream to gain the advantage on Christian Lindroth, but he's still too far behind. Look at them on the exit of Spoon now, trying to dance with that throttle pedal. He's just modulating it, fighting for traction. He's very close with the slipstream here. I think into 130R it might be possible.
You're seeing a look there at a two-car incident. You've got Pasi Lekanovan out of the event. You have Hanno Valin also classified as out at this time. This was due to an incident. This is down at the Dunlop curb. So we've had a couple of drivers already classified as out of this event. We're going to get that ticker running along the top of your screen. But here is your front pack heading themselves down in towards turn 1. Again, driver coming down to the inside or someone. I think they were just getting out of the way. Indeed, they were. But your front pack, they're separated by about a second right now. Johnny, at this stage of the race, you got to think about getting to that first pit window. Although Malcolm Mäkinen and Jukka Sovalainen scrapping it out down in towards turn 1, side by side, and the winner of that battle will be Jukka Sovalainen just for the time being.
Yeah, could see battles throughout the field. The pit stop strategy, as you mentioned, the window opens any time in the race. You just have to make one pit stop. Now, the important thing is, pit early, you're going to feed out in traffic. Pit late, and you're not going to take advantage of fresh tires and fresh rubber early on. So it's essentially you're going to have to find the right balance and find the right situation to pit as drivers still on heading down to Degner 1, still trying to fight and slice through for position.
Yeah, you've got Juraj Pakalami. We're looking on board with him right now in the number 12 machine, heading themselves down in towards the hairpin. The second slowest corner on the racetrack. This is a battle for P number 20, P21 on track right now. These guys still mighty close, but I want to go back and think about the race lead very quickly, because Klaus Kivikas has now pulled out a 1 second advantage over Riku Alatalo. Grande Sim Sport versus Glacier Racing as they head themselves out of Spooner down the back straight away. Well, we knew that Kivikas was going to be strong here, but he's broken the toe, and you can see he's trying to just make sure that Riku doesn't get the last remnants of that into the 130R. I'm thinking that if Kivikas can just pull out a couple more attempts per second, he will be away, and then it's going to be a case of whether or not Aloma and Alatalo can continue to scrap it out to be the best of the rest.
Yeah, certainly. So it's going to be interesting. Car spun off at 130R. Who is that? That was huge. And we'll try and hopefully find out who that is. But incredible to see. I knew something was going to happen. Drivers dancing or playing with fire right there. But talking about the lead, if anyone's a connoisseur of driving GT cars around Suzuka, traversing their ways over this difficult Dutch-built racetrack, it's going to be Klaus Kivikas. So he is incredible. He's already got over a 1 second lead. I'm not surprised if him and Riku or he both break away from the rest of the pack.
It was Jisu Tunti there, who was the driver who was out down at the 130R. We saw him just getting loose under braking. The back end of that car can step out. That's exactly what happened in this circumstance. Driver is classified as out of the race. Back down to the rear of your top 15. You've got Marco Penton battling out with Timu Velalaji right now. Also got Antti Pajala running in P number 16 in the Morganshirley.com car. And, well, this is, rear end of your top 20 right now. These drivers are still scrapping out, but track position is going to be so important here. He's got a car off as well.
Oh.
Rico Lindstrom in the number 38 car. Just turn around in the Monster Energy car there.
Oh, Mikko, it was on the run out of the Dunlop curb. Him and Juha Pekalami just, wow, side by side. Bit of contact as well, and both of them spinning around. I think the worst out of it was Mikko right there. So, incredible to see contact. I haven't really seen it on the exit of Dunlop. I haven't really seen, an accident over there. That's the first time in quite a while.
What happened was the number 12 machine just got himself 2 wheels on to the white line, and that just spun the car around. Juraj Pakalami there. You get the iRacing Super Slow Mo replay up for you. So as soon as that Cormano Sports car got 2 wheels, we had 3 drivers involved in it. Number 14 machine looks as though he might have been able to get away without too much damage to that race car. Number 14 car is Antti Turunen. There you can see him in the GSRC 49 Motorsports car. Of course, we saw a lot about them yesterday in the RaceSpotTV Petit Le Mans. It's interesting to note, though, that these drivers cannot abuse the white lines. That's the second time we've seen that already today. And what that essentially means is you must respect the track limits. And I haven't seen many drivers over abusing the curbs either.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, the curbs will be a little bit slippery. We know dynamic tracks as well, so they're not going to be that grippy compared to the racing line. So you've got to understand, are you taking a shorter track distance, which is slower, or are you taking the long way around, which is faster? So sometimes the shorter way around will not always be the fastest way around, because simply you just can't apply the throttle as earlier as you can, and you can't carry as much speed as you'd like through there.
Tommy Hacker, we just saw there, he set his fastest lap of the race that last time by. However, he has fallen down 2 positions so far. Your biggest movers and shakers in the race. Johnny Hagner is your biggest mover inside the top 10. He is up a total of 6 places so far today, breaking from P15 up into your top 10. Apart, he's actually your biggest move inside your top 20. Andy Turman is your biggest loser inside the top 20. He is down 8 spots there.
Well, poor starts. It's always the worst feeling in the world. I've actually never, in my sim racing career, never really had a catastrophic start. I've had bad starts, but never starts where I've lost, 5-6 positions. But good starts is something that comes with not only practice, but I think driver confidence. I think drivers who get good starts want to, first of all, put the practice in and the effort to concentrate on what it takes to get the car off the line in the quickest means possible. And at the same time, they're confident in their way in just maneuvering around the traffic at the start. So it's driver skill. A lot is involved at the start of the race.
Just to give you an update, Huapakilami and Lindstrom, that will be investigated after the event. So there may well still be a penalty to come in that one. Just check it out. The number 79 car, the Black Star Alpine Stars machine of Kim Eriksson, coming down in towards turn 1. Gonna ride on board then with Eriksson down into that first corner. You can just see that. Listen to the engine note. Very smooth off, very smooth on. You have to be smooth in these cars. You can't slam on the gas like you do in one of the BMWs, which of course is in the same kind of veil as these roofs that we're running in today. You've got to be careful on and off the power, because otherwise the back end will just turn around in you, Johnny.
Yeah, and it looks silly as well. You always see drivers in the roof who, essentially when they spin, it's very slow and sluggish. It's something where you're spinning and you're about to hit a wall, but there's nothing you can do about it. You're trying to steer out of it. The car's just, it feels so heavy, it looks so heavy at least. So for the roof though, it's got a lot of power. I think that's the biggest aspect that a lot of people recognize with this vehicle. And everybody's driving the same car here, and it's an equal playing field. So for these drivers, I think the challenge is, as you said, being smooth onto the throttle and rolling off it. Essentially what you learn around the ovals in a stock car, ovals where you don't really have to apply the brakes. You just, for example, California, where you're just riding off the throttle, riding back on, techniques that help you throughout the sim racing world.
There you can see left-hand side of your screen, the gap between your top 20. Klaus Kifikas still leading the way by 2.1 seconds over Ruku Alataulo. In fact, that gap's up to 2.7 seconds. We talked about if Kifikas can break the toe, then it was going to be a completely different race. There is a look on board with Ruku Alataulo in the number 18 machine, down in towards turn 1. He will come once again. Aloma, he's dropped back a couple of attempts for a second. 4th place is Jari Latari. 5th place is Tommy Hacker. Then Joni Tankanen in P number 6. Simon Holm in 7th. Mika Harpanen in 8th. Joni Haggett in 9th. And then Arto Imhaki rounding out your top 10 right now. There you can see Arto in the number 192 car. Got a little bit of pressure right now from Kim Eriksson, who runs himself in the 11th spot, Johnny.
Yeah, lots of pressure as well. How about Tommy Hacker in P5? He's very, very close to the back of Jari Latari, and talking about his bad start, it's coming back to haunt him. He's 3 tenths behind, the same way Kim Eriksson is in that battle right behind Arto there. Is that these guys, from their starts, are not... Is there a driver off the track? No, it's not. Yeah, so for Tommy, it's coming back to haunt him, where he lost those 2 positions. Now he's stuck behind traffic, and he's losing time. If he wants to get a podium finish, he has to pass Jari in the next few laps, or else they're already there having a look up the inside of the hairpin. Just needs to start playing with his mindset.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Let's turn our attention back to this battle with Jari Latari and Tommy Hacker as they continue to scrap for position. Just behind the trees they work then as we ride on board. Now with that driver, number 91 machine of Tommy Hacker, down on the exit of Spoon Curve, number 2, that run down towards the 130R. Of course, that corner was reprofiled after Alan McNish's horrific crash there back in qualifying. I think it was in 2003, Johnny, in Toyota. One of the scariest crashes I think I've seen in a Grand Prix qualifying ever. That corner doesn't actually measure 130 degrees anymore.
Yeah, so, well, 130R is an iconic corner. It's one of the corners you mention when you think about the Formula One world, and which corners, such as Eau Rouge at Spa, which iRacing also implements in the laser scan versions. And for those who are new to iRacing, as always, welcome. And iRacing laser scans every single track out there, and this Suzuka circuit is modeled millimeter perfect, 130 up, almost exactly the same as the real life version. It is exactly the same as the real life version, it's just not real life. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, as we ride on board now with the driver of Mika Hakkinen, and this is in P number 8 right now. Driver just ahead of him is Simo Holm, Joni Hagner right behind. Now, so far in this event, Mika is up 1 position in that number 30 car. His best lap, a 159.080. No lap officially classified for him last time, due to the event that he did go off of the racing surface. And, well, up 1 place since lap number 1, that was about it. Your fastest laps of the day so far. Let's run through those. Klaus Kivikas is the only driver that have broken into the 1 minute 57s officially, Johnny. His last lap was a 157, sorry, his fastest lap was a 157.946. His last lap, a 1/10 of a second slower. Then Riccardo Tauro's got a 158.147. Alex Yaloma, a 158.161. Then a big jump to Larry Lottari, who's running in P number 4 on the racetrack. Fastest lap of the race for him, a 158.432.
Well, that's evident in the gaps as well, because Riku and Alexei are right next to each other on the racetrack. Alexei 4/10 behind. Riku is 3.5 behind Klaus, and I think that's because of Klaus's consistency. Riku can match his times, but he's struggling to do it on a consistent basis. I think that's where Klaus is going to gain earn his salary in this race, is just by lapping away in clean traffic, waiting for that pit stop. And at the same time, when you're in the lead, you have to concentrate on everybody. Sometimes if you have an engineer, which Klaus does, I think Jorn Jens is helping him out, looking at those who are in the server at the moment, is that Klaus is, he's got to concentrate on who's pitting around, who can maybe get that undercut. But at the moment, his lead is so huge that he's essentially just has to concentrate on keeping that car planted on the racetrack.
Yeah, having a look there, number 57 machine of Simo Horn versus Mika Hakkinen. Hakkinen, we talked about him a moment ago, just able to move himself now up into the 7th place on the racetrack. And Joni Hagner is right there behind Simo as well. So it could well be a double whammy. We're going to get ourselves a replay of that then on board. And the reason why was Simo just brushed very wide on that run out the final corner. And here's the thing, Johnny. People think that after you get out of the triangle, there you are, start another lap. That downhill off-camber right-hander is so difficult.
Yeah, and sometimes drivers think it's just a straight, when if you don't turn right, you're going to go straight into the wall, much like Timo Gluck did in Formula 1 in the 09 qualifying session. It's a corner, essentially, in my opinion. It's not really the run to the straight. There's still one more right-hander to navigate, and applying the throttle, the rear end just wants to go to another country. You're trying to stay on the racetrack. The rear end wants to go to Korea, but the front end wants to stay in Japan. So it's very difficult coming out of that triangle. I could go on all day. It's this racetrack, every single corner requires a lot of effort and practice.
There's a look from our aerial coverage. We zoom in and we have a look behind the trees. There is Klaus Kivikas. He is still your race leader. He has led every single lap here today in that Ferrari Caranda Sim Sports number 191 machine. A lovely look there. And in fact, we're just going to see that off-camber right-hander. 27 minutes of this event to go, getting close to halfway. Pit stop, Johnny. In theory, you can pit now and get to the end of the race. That pit window is open, but we expect most people to come in about 10 minutes time.
Yeah, exactly so, because that's when the field starts to spread out and people are going to find those gaps to send themselves out of the pit lane into clean air. And yet, at the same time, it's not just clean air and lapping away. You don't want to risk your race going into a battle for P20 when you're the effective leader who's made his pit stop and start to go side by side and risk damage to your race car as well. So this is something you calculate before the race in terms of pit loss time, and you organize through experience as well when you're going to make that stop. If you find the gap at the earliest possible rate, this is where the window starts to open. Now you're looking for that pit stop gap. If you can find the clean air, you're going straight into the pit lane. You're going to feed out and take advantage of that.
Indeed, and pit strategy is so important in pretty much every form of motorsports. Of course, spoiler alert, if you're Sergio Perez early on today in a Force India, it worked perfectly to your advantage. Of course, up the mountain in the Bathurst 1000, you know, pit strategy was important there. Or in some cases, Johnny, a case of, do you actually overtake a safety car?
Oh, don't start. But no, you don't. That was Bathurst this weekend was interesting. A lot of crashes. What I don't like is a lot of people outside of racing who don't watch a lot of racing. First thing they think about is, oh, it's really dangerous. And to think about the safety that has improved in the world of racing, people forget how safe it is these days. And to talk about that, in sim racing, the safest, if you want to consider it a motorsport, which obviously it's not really, but it's probably the safest way you can really drive a car around these racetracks. So these guys have that advantage of being able to practice and crashing into walls without having to suffer with a medical bill. And at the same time, the battle for P9 right now, side by side into the hairpin, Joni Hagner and Simo Holm, as Joni is hopefully going to have a great run out of that final Casio triangle, excuse me.
We got there in the end. There you can see you are indeed going to also have another mover. That is Timo Toika. We just had a look on board of him there. He moves himself up into the 11th place. Gonna get ourselves another look at this pass, which happened also down into the triangle. So let's have a look then. Down through the 130R, you see nicely setting up that number 79 car of Kim Eriksson. Does exactly the same thing that Backham did, but this time enough room was left for him. And, well, perfectly done there into the triangle. Slowest corner on the racetrack, perfectly on the brake. Simo Toika now up into P number 11. Big battles going on right now. Joni Hagner versus Simo Holm. This one continues to develop as we have ourselves a look on board with Hagner through Denga number 1. Through Denga number 2 they come. And what actually Hagner needs is for Holm to continue to fall back and make it happen. Because that way he's not going to get the draft down the 2 very long straightaways here, Johnny.
Yeah, and you need to tuck into that the draft or the slipstream, whatever terminology you like to use at all times. So now across this straight, Joni needs to just following that roof. Yes, you want to use the inside line to minimize track distance, but you gain more going into the slipstream, breaking that air, resistance, and creeping in on the driver in front. So out of spoon now, possibly a little bit of dirty air. He's going to throttle out of the corner as usual, modulating, just dancing around, finding where the grip is at the earliest possible convenience. And right now, Joni, once again, going into that slipstream. Simo can also at the same time do some dirty tactics by sort of swerving around. But here we go, maybe a pass into the Casio triangle.
Let's have a look. And no, not quite just yet. And this is the thing. We talk about most people coming in at about, 7 minutes time now. But if you are Joni Hagner, you might consider coming in a lap, maybe 2 laps early. If you think you've got the raw speed, that is exactly what you do. You come in a little bit early, you try and do the patented undercut. A clean track sometimes is worth more than the draft. You can see another 3-car battle going on. This is between Christian Lindorf and Timo Valekjaravi, and also Antti Pajada. A 3-horse train then down in towards turn 1. These drivers come. Incredible racing. And give you an update on retirees as well. Of course, we had a couple out in the first couple of laps of the race. You had Aki Havantara, Pasi Likkonen, and then you had Hanno Valin, Juuso Tontti, Mika Lindström, and Aki Räikkönen all out the race, as is Jyri Pakalaivi. Tommy Mankonen has just crashed actually there. We can just see the treble 7 car having himself a moment, Johnny. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where this is, as this was down. Oh, I just got the back end of it there, and he made one crash. Let's see exactly. Was that turn number... wasn't turn number 1? Where was that? Spoon curve. That was it. Spoon curve, he lost it.
Yeah, that's quite weird. So I want to see what happens here. He lost that spoon curve. There we go. Hit the wall on the outside. So that's where that terminal suspension damage came from. He already had initial damage before his spin. Now the car did not look easy to drive. And coming out of spoon, obviously, the car is just not. It's undrivable. Spins, hits the wall. And his race is over, unfortunately, in that 777 car. That battle, though, for P13, 14, 15. Let's see if Teemu Valkjärvi there in 14th position. A man I know, and he's a strong racer, and he's plenty of experience in many cars. One of those drivers who can jump into a vehicle and still give you consistent, great performances. He's not really a one-car specialist. He's a guy who can overall, drive in any car, the same way Riku does.
Indeed, as Joni Hagner right back on the rear. Simo Holm down to the inside as they come down into the triangle. Hagner getting boxed in there, and that's a shame for Hagner because that was his chance to make a move. He just couldn't do so because of the fact that you had Mika Happinen right there in the mix as well. Now, this isn't, aggressive driving here by any of these people. It's just a case that people are starting to remember they want to set themselves up for position when they come to their pit stop in a moment's time. We're going to get ourselves a quick look then back at this ongoing battle. This is Joni Hagner in the number 42 machine. And let's ride back on board with him then from the Spoon Curve. An update on pit stops as well, Johnny, where two people in Antti Turunen and Marko Kika have all made themselves pit stops. 32.4 seconds for Turunen. Marko Kika deciding not to take tyres, just 17.5 seconds on the guns. We actually got Vicky on pit road, as is Antti Pajala right about now. We're going to come back to that one in just one moment's time. This is the move then for Hagner. He looked down to the inside, and I think actually he came in with too much speed. He had to lock the tyres up there to actually avoid running into the side of the driver ahead of him. So good driving there by Joni Hagner, not just using his car as a battering ram.
Yeah, exactly. He used the engine braking in that car, and that's why you see that rear twitch where he almost looked like he was losing control, just to slow the car and sort of be aggressive on the engine to avoid that contact, because Mika's just slowly saying, I'm not involved in this battle, I'm taking this corner like I always was. But these two were screaming into that final chicane. So Joni right there, being smart, avoiding the contact. And I think drivers who people say that's too erratic, I think Joni just has great car control, and he's smart to be able to use the engine braking to slow the car down in a situation like that. Use it too often and you're going to damage the engine over a race distance.
Alexia Loma, you got a car on pit road. That is Riku Alatalo coming on towards pit road, then slowing it all the way down. He's coming on pit road. Let's have a look from the rear. Is there anyone else trying to come in as well? Looks as though that pit road isn't that busy a place just yet. As well, we're having a look from the rear of Riku Alatalo's number 80 machine. We have got a bit of company there on pit road. That is Simo Holm on pit road. That is going to make things happy for Joni Hagner. Also, got Timo Toika on pit road as we speak. And also, Timu Valajavi on pit road right now. But Riku Alatalo, let's turn our attention back to him. Let's see what his pit stop time will be. He's going to take tyres. That's going to be the key one. It's going to be a 15.3 second stop out and away for him. Simo Holm also completing his service in 1 moment's time, Johnny. Somewhere we're expecting 15 seconds to be strong here. And Simo Holm is going to do 12.7 seconds. Timo Toika out in 12.9. And
I'll tell you what, for Riku, I'm not sure if he has a speeding penalty, but he was very close to it on entry, and then going to his pit box, very bumpy on that side of the pit lane, missed his box and had to reverse as well. So not only a long pit stop in the actual box itself, but entering his pit crew, for them to service that vehicle, took a while as well. He made a mistake, so that's going to cost him time. I think Alexia Loma now, if he keeps things together, has jumped Riku for P2. I just want to see how much time Riku has lost in comparison to Lotari and Hanka in P3 and 4.
We just saw, and we're going to get ourselves another look, that Timu Valajavi was scrapping it out of pit road. They were side by side. Antti Pajala, they both made pit stops, and Pajala was able to be the beneficiary in that one. Let's have a look then. Tommy Haka still scrapping out with Yari Loftari. Get ourselves a look from our aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. Zoom in on these two drivers, and Klaus Kivikas coming on towards pit road. So Kivikas is in. P number 3, Yari Loftari, is on towards pit road as well. So P1, P3, both pitting at the same time. It's a busy old pit road now. All drivers will be in the next 2 laps from here. Their fuel tank won't go any further, but let's have a look then at the pit stop for Klaus Kivikas. And he was slow coming into his stop there, very slow there for Kivikas.
Yeah, he's being very cautious. He has a great amount of lead. He knows that Riku made that mistake. Somebody's obviously had a word to him as well. Jorn Jens, who claims he's only here to watch the race, I think he's here to help maybe spot Klaus, but if he's telling the truth, I believe him. And here's Klaus out and away onto the racetrack. And look at that lovely view of a clean track. And he's out and away in the lead. But Riku behind, I think Riku here into P2, so he's ahead of Yari Lotari.
Yes, we've got a couple more people on pit road. Having a look through them, we've got Otto Imhaki right now on pit road, 15.4 seconds out and away. Kim Eriksson just going to complete his service in a total time of 13.5 seconds. No, a bit longer than that. Much longer than that. Over 18, 19 seconds. A speeding penalty for Eriksson. This is going to be disastrous for him, as someone is going to have to do a speeding penalty here today. And Eriksson had a good first part of the race. We saw him quite a few times. He's going to be passed by 3 drivers. And in fact, he might well be passed by another one. They're almost side by side coming out of the lane. Eriksson there is going to be behind a number of drivers, behind Sebastian Lindquist, Marco Kika, and Marco Penttinen there, right there behind. We need to turn our attention back, though, to the front of the field and to your current race leader, Alexei Aloma, coming down in towards the triangle, coming out of the triangle. We expect him on pit road this time by Johnny, and indeed he is in.
Yeah, smart move. He has to pit now and hopefully jump Riku for P2. That's his goal. So entering the pit lane, not too cautious, but not too aggressive. In between, he knows there's nothing really to lose. There's only spots to gain right now. So he's looking for that pit stall. Now, very difficult as well. Downhill slightly. It's so easy to outbrake a pit stall. The same way that Riku did. And look at the bouncing for Alexei. I think these cars take a huge pounding just in the pit lane. He enters his box cleanly. And we'll see how long this pit stop goes for. Tommy Hako also in, who gets into his box right in front of Alexei. So let's find Riku Alatalo now as Alexei exits his box. Riku on the front straight.
Yeah, there is Alexei Aloma, 12.4 second stop, but Alatalo is behind as they come down in towards turn 1. Alexei Aloma will keep second place for the time being. There is Riku Alatalo. He's not even in the same shot right now. Alatalo 3 seconds behind this driver. It is Alexei Aloma, the number 13 machine. Of course, both of these drivers, in fact, your top 3 drivers, have had experience in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. And even though the World Championship Series is over for another year, don't forget, coming soon, it is the iRacing.com Pro Series of Road Racing. Dreams are made and dreams are shattered in the intensive competition. 10 races in 12 weeks separates 55 drivers with a chance of coming and getting the golden ticket for 2016 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, and it will be here on RaceSpotTV and also on iRacingLive, as we just have a look there through your film. Tell you who the big one for that one. It's not a finished driver. It's Pablo GoPro Lopez, Johnny.
Yeah.
He and Matt Backham, they are the top 2 favourites for that championship.
Yeah, Pablo. Everybody loves that guy. He's a crowd favorite. And how about Matt Backham? I mean, a driver who really came to life, proving his worth in the World Championship. Not many people knew him before that. Sort of the guy who did all his, promotion on the racetrack. And he's a very good guy. The guys love him there, Radicals in the team. One of the top funny guys in the team, along with Jonas Nukarainen. Great atmosphere, and we spoke about it a little bit earlier between me and you, Will. Radicals is a team that, slowly getting better throughout the sim racing world. Alexei Aloma now, though, in P2, ahead of Riku Alatalo. Now, that's the critical point now for Riku is he's 2.6 seconds behind. He's got 12 minutes to go. How much time can he gain on Alexei in front? Because Klaus is essentially going to win this race if he keeps things together. He's been extremely consistent and fast. But the battle for P2 and P3, I think, is not over between Alatalo and Aloma. If Alatalo can creep in, as Alexei has a huge twitch through the S's, which will cost him a couple tenths. So already on the relative time, he's losing 2 tenths. So we'll have to see how this race plays out.
Yeah, let's have a look at the gap between these 2 drivers. Last time by, it was, of course, an outlap for Alexei Aloma, so we don't need to pay attention to that one. But Riku Alatalo, his last lap, a 1:58.900. That was 8 tenths of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. Now, traffic is unlikely to be a factor in this event today. The reason why I say that is because the lap time here takes to about 1:58. And the last place driver on track is Samo Jotsi right now, and he is 1:52 seconds behind your race leader. If anything, only about 3 drivers are going to replace a lap down based upon actual racetrack moment. And there you can see it's Samo Jotzi in the number 187 machine. Want to know where Klaus Kivikas is? Just around the corner, working himself through the spoon curve. Out of the spoon curve then. Let's ride the back portion of this lap on board with Klaus Kivikas. And again, just look at the speed that Kivikas takes into 130R, Johnny.
253 kilometers an hour on the speed trap, so sweeps that car in. It's a fairly easy corner, 130R. I think what people love about it, on your own, it's fairly easy to go through as long as the third springs are set up to grip well as your aero, it's not too imbalanced. It's just racing through there, and the exhilarating experience you have through 130R, it makes it so, for some scary, for some exciting. So, I mean, as you said, you look at the track map on this racetrack. Now Klaus going through turn 1, 2, then the S's, then you got Dunlop, Degner. Every single corner on this racetrack can cost you tenths and gain you tenths. So it's something that requires a lot of practice, and a track where setup is so important in sim racing.
Just want to highlight one thing. Even though Aloma had that horrible moment, look at that, a 158.9 compared to a 159.0. Obviously, we can't actually use our highlight tool today because I can't draw circles, but you know what I mean, Johnny. Even though he had that horrible moment, Aloma was able to gather the lap back together. And this is one thing that Aloma is so good at. He's able to keep himself in the zone. When he wants to push, there's not many people who's as pure a racer as Alexi Aloma.
Yeah, and these guys at the top who have World Championship experience, as you mentioned, know what it takes to succeed at the top. And this is what I'm speaking about. There are guys in the World Championship who come to amateur leagues. Now, I'm not necessarily saying today is an amateur race. It's not at all. It's far from it. But they go to any other amateur leagues. When they start off sim racing, they develop and they have the potential and they start to dominate. And then once you go to the World Championship, these guys such as Klaus, Alexi, Riku, they don't dominate and win and finish 1, 2, 3. There's so much talent out there in the world that it requires a lot of patience, because you have time to maximize your potential. So as Riku slowly creeps away from P2, I don't think he's going to be able to catch Alexi at this rate, but he's falling into the clutches of Yari, Lotari, and Tomiaka in P4 and 5, and we'll see how this plays out for the rest of the event.
Been riding a bit on board there with Arto Imahaki as they work themselves on the exit spoon down towards the 130R again. Less than 10 minutes to go here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. Don't forget, later on this evening, we have ourselves Sunday Night Skippies. If you've never seen an iRacing event before and this is your first time and you think this is good, just wait until later on when we show you some of the most exciting racing you will see all week. It's Sunday Night Skippies, and it lives on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. That's coming your way at 8 PM GMT. As we ride ourselves now along board with the driver of Tommy Haka one more time. Number 91 machine. Down he comes in towards Denga number 1. Battling it out with Yala Latara. This is for P number 4. P number 5. And well, Haka's been up in P3, in P4, in P5. He just seems to like that 5th spot more than anywhere else.
Yeah, and that comes back to the start of the race. People say you don't win the race in turn 1. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, you lose your race in turn 1 all the time because you go in with caution. And I think playing with drivers' minds, if you're a team manager at times, you don't want to play with a driver's mind too much at the start of the race. You want them to be calm, and you want them to be, just as they would when they're starting off in sim racing, grabbing 50 AI and just going around a track, starting at the rear end, passing drivers in weird places, developing their racecraft. So it's something where the start of a race comes down to confidence, comes down to how your team managers for most of these guys help them out, calm them down, teammates as well. And it should be some great racing, such as that Skip Barber skit later on in the day. I love the song as well you use. It's good. I really enjoy it.
Do you want it again? There you are. It's a Skip Barber 2K World Cup, but we'll let you off. It's late in Australia. But
it is.
It is late in Australia. We'll let you off. Down in the field, we've got Veli-Matti Hulse scrapping it out right now, riding on board with him as he is trying to close up to the rear of Timo Escola in the number 37 machine, as these two batting outside the top 25, but every point matters. And we haven't yet alluded to it, but there are a number of prizes that are awarded from the series. We'll run through those in a moment's time, but it's so gratifying to see the fact that even well down the field, we're having a look now at Marco Kika and Gio Vicky. They're still scrapping it out, and they are all the way down in P16, P17, Johnny.
Yeah, you know, lots of talent in this field from all ranges, and these drivers are going to be fighting out whether you're in first place. There's going to be somebody in your talent level, or whether you're in last as well. You're still having to fight for positions, so it keeps drivers motivated. You know, these series, these finish racing series for these drivers give a sense of less pressure in a way. You enjoy these types of series compared to other ones where team bosses are going to be on your back for not performing well and all that. You know, the good thing though is for countries such as Finland, I know UK and Ireland do that with the Skip Barber as well, which we broadcast on RaceSpotTV, so visit the RaceSpotTV YouTube channel for that, and on iRacingLive as well now, so that's good to see. But nevertheless, when countries have, series and feeder series that come out towards the best series in the world, I know Trellet for Finland is a popular one, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but I mean, that's one where so much talent comes from there, and that's overlooked. Those feeder series do a lot for the sim racing community.
Oh, I completely agree. Just having a look at Antipajada, of course. He had himself a 12.4 second pit stop earlier on, battling out with Arta and Himamaki right now. Gap between these two drivers is half of a second as they work themselves out of Spoon, down towards start-finish line again. Realistically, there is going to be 2 more laps after the one that these drivers are working on. To run you through then some of the prizes that will be awarded from this championship. They are going to get €200 in cash, $200 in iRacing credits for the winner, as well as an €880 Vainio gift card. Vainio is a car tyre service franchise in Finland. Additional prizes provided by Ferrasa and iRacing. Cash for second place, €150 and $200 in iRacing credits. €50 in cash and $200 in iRacing credits for third place. And then a number of iRacing based credits for drivers all the way down to P number 15. And well, it's never too early to start talking about the World Cup. Of course, the World Cup is upon us soon, and these drivers will be thinking about what they need to do to be representing their club or country when it comes to the iRacing.com World Cup coming your way soon. It's right on board. One more time, Tommy, how can we have side-by-side that I believe is the lap down car? That is the lap down car of Samu Jotzi there, almost making life a little bit difficult for one of the Glacier Racing drivers as well. Clive Kivicast now, 3.5 minutes, maybe not, 2 laps away from winning this race.
Yeah, we'll see when he crosses the line there, the 45-minute event. And for Klaus, it's been a lights to flag. Great victory for him. Driver I expected from pole to win this race. The critical start for Riku was he needed to get ahead of Klaus, and I mentioned that. That's what we needed to see pre-race before we watched them take the grid, was Riku needed to be ready to take it to Klaus, throw it up the inside into turn 1 and 2. He didn't do that, and Riku fell down the order. The pit stop cost him P2, down to P3. But he still got a podium position to his name, so terrific job from Riku Alatalo. In front of him, though, 2 terrific drivers of Alexia Loma and Klaus Kibikas have done a better job, and well-deserved podium positions for those 3. It's good to see many drivers out here in the field racing today. Plenty of gaps. Still, Vicky in P17, very close to Marco Kika on the exit of the Spoon Curve.
Yeah, we're just having a look on board actually with that Daytech car, and let's have a look at these 2 drivers, because there was a change for position a moment ago. You have a look at that, the Daytech car of Marco Kika on the exit of the hairpin. A beautiful pass actually round the outside. Of course, that's the shortest way around then to the Spoon Curve. Marco Kika in the number 82 machine moves into the pass. Yeah, Vicky, who's now down into P number 17. That is still a net gain of 2 plays for Vicky in this event, a minute behind your overall race leader. Although we are now getting ourselves to the back end of this event. 1 minute 50 seconds remaining on the play clock. And there is a look at that ongoing battle to the outside. We'll look at the number 64 car. He's going to go around the long way in towards turn number 1, into 2. Can't hold it on the outside line, but can he stay alongside into the S? No, he can't. Yeah, Vicky tried very hard there to get P number 16 back, and he will get it back, because spinning around, that is Marco Kika into the wall in the Daytech car. Now keep it going. This might well be the last lap. Even though you've got a little bit of damage, you can carry it on. And there, Marco Kika is lost himself now about 3 positions as a consequence. 4 positions. He's now down at the rear end of your top 20 there, Johnny.
Yeah, Marco Kika, lesson learnt. At turn 1 and 2, you did the right thing. You stayed on that rubbered line. And the next corner into turn 3, didn't do it. So he spun off the racetrack, had no grip on the outside. He gave lots of room there to Vicky. And he spun around, and essentially towards the end of the race, he's lost only about 5 positions. Not much, but it's not the way you want to end your race.
Yeah, having a look from the rear of Joni Hagner. 40 seconds remaining on the play clock. Let's figure out where Klaus Kivikas is. And I'm just having a look. Is that into the S's? Yep, this is out of the S's. This is the white flag lap. 1 more tour around Suzuka to go for Klaus Kivikas. He will see the checkered flag at the start finish line the next time by. The white flag is out. There is only 1 more tour of this racetrack to go. Outstanding battles. Tommy Hacker versus Yuri Latari. Let's have a look then on board with the driver of Tommy Hacker. He's going to have to make it work, arguably down into the final corner. Expect to see a lot of late race last lap lunges. We've got another one as well. Mika Hapanen battling out with Joni Hagner. This is P7 and P number 8. You've also got Antti Pajara and Otto Mahaki. That's going to happen on the final lap of this event. Also Timo Toika and Timo Valetsjavi. That will happen potentially on the last lap of this event. But here we can see, we'll focus the camera, that is a number 191 car. That is Klaus Kivikas for Coanda Sim Sports. Out he comes of Spoon for the final time. It's downhill. He can pretty much shut the engine off from here. And yesterday, Kivikas played a vital role in Coanda Sim Sports winning the GT division in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. We always said that if you can beat the Finns at their own game, then you can always be one of the best. And of course, Kivikas is finished by nature, and he will be a big part of Coanda Sim Sports GT Pro Series and GT World Championship charge. Kivikas 191 car will win here at Suzuka. Lexi Aloma will come home second. We're going to go back and have a look at Yotari versus Hacker at the line. Lotari will be able to hold on, although Johan Tankinen, we have lost someone on the final lap of the race there. We'll figure out who that one is. Joni Hagner versus Mika Harpinen. It looks as though that Hagner will just about be able to keep that one, although it could well be a drag race to the line. Let's have a look, and who is it going to be? It will be Hagner. He'll be able to hold on to that one without any issues at all. Timo Toika versus Timo Valetsjavi. Toika able to hold on to that one as well. The last real one we've got going on is here, Johnny. Yeah, Vicky, of course, in P14 now versus Sebastian Lindquist. And a couple of drivers there, I believe, maybe a little bit foul of the rules. And Vicky is going to be passed. Oh, contact there. Down into the 130R. And that was, I believe, Sebastian Lindquist forcing his way through. Last lap of the race. Number 79 car, Kim Eriksson, wants to join the party as well.
Yeah, and here we go. Vicky's going to lose maybe another position. He's going to get onto the throttle. Actually, he keeps that position just ahead of Ericsson. And wow, what an incredible finish there between those three. Into 130R with contact, keeping that car pointing straight forward, and to finish the race. And surely with adrenaline for the next few months. Yeah, let's get ourselves another look. You can see it almost ended in tears for the number 64 machine. Almost ended in tears also for the other two drivers involved. Of course, the number 79 car of Kim Eriksson. But there we are. Look, as they come to the line, they were all able to keep it going. It's Klaus Kivikas' day, though. There you can see Klaus in the number 191 car, claiming victory here for Coanda Sim Sports. The checkered flag is out, and here are your final race results.
Klaus Kivikas then claiming victory, 7.2 seconds ahead of Alexei Aloma. Riku Aratalo rounds out your podium. Larry Lotari coming home in P number 4. And Tommy Hacker rounding out your top 5. Then it's Joni Tankinen in P6, Joni Hagner in P7, Mika Happinen in 8, Simo Holm in 9, and Arto Imahaki rounding out your top 10. Let's head on back. Antti Bajala in P number 11. Timo Toika in 12. Timo Valek-Jarvi in 13th. And Christian Lindroff in 14th. Jukka Sovalainen in P number 15. Then in the 16th place is Sebastian Lindqvist. Yeah, Vicky in P17. Kim Eriksson in 18th. Marco Penttinen in 19th. And then Marco Kikka rounding out your top 20. Antti Salminen in 21st place. Marco Manion in 22nd. Antti Truman in 23rd. Timo Makipa in 24th. Juuso Hirtala in 25th. Timo Iskola 26th. Veli Matihoso in 27th. Timo Puramaki in 28th. Iku Merikala in 29th. And Yanni Pentajimeli in the 30th position. It seems to be they make them harder as we go down the field. Samu Jutsi down 1 lap in 31st position. The only driver scored down 1 lap. Tommy Magnan in 32nd. Juho Saravo in 33rd. Aki Ronikainen in 14th. Then you got Juha Pakarami 35th. Mika Lindstrom 36th. Juuso Tonti in 37th. Pasi Luukkonen in 38th. Hannu Valin in 39th. And then Aki Helveranta running out your field of 40 finish drivers, making it impossible for an English guy to try and figure out how to commentate on those names. We're going to step aside for one moment. We'll be back with post-race coverage after this message. You're watching a special presentation of RaceSpotTV on iRacingLive. Let's have a look at a Finnish driver who is a 5-time world champion. That guy is Gregor Huttu. But here comes Gregor Huttu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Huttu once again is a winner. Gregor Huttu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Huttu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that Finnish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Huttu worked himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Huttu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Huttu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never, ever say that Gregor Huttu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger, he comes back stronger, he wins round number 9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest sim racing driver, you can do it with your statement on the road courses. Do it when it matters. Out of the final corner for the final time, number 50 for Gregor Huttu, out of the final corner. At the top of the broadcast, we said if Huttu could win here today, he could well cement himself as the championship favourite. Gregor Huttu, the #1 machine, back to victory lane, win number 51. Huttu is inching closer rapidly to his 5th, and yes, I say that correctly, his 5th World Championship. Out of the bus stop chicane comes the #1 Team Redline driver, Gregor Hutu, will win here at Circuit Spa-Francorchamps. Yes, it may be behind a computer with a steering wheel and a set of pedals, but for these drivers, this is as close as they may ever get to racing in real life. It will be Gregor Hutu coming past the line. He is a 5-time world champion. Gregor Hutu wins the championship one more time. He is the greatest driver in the history of open wheel racing here at iRacing.com, and dare I say it, he is the greatest open wheel champion in the history of sim racing. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to RaceSpotTV on iRacingLive. Just very quickly, just trying to figure out what happened at the start of this event. This is two drivers at the rear of the field. I'm just trying to figure out if they actually did get going. They did get going. There we are. This is down at the rear end of your pack. And Pasi Lenkkonen classified in the 39th position in the event here today. Unfortunate circumstances will cover these drivers. A lot of bunching towards turn #1, Johnny. But for the most part, they made it through without any incident at all.
Yeah, it was good to see. You know, these drivers more than skilled. The Finnish world producing more talents in sim racing, and as always, we see them here today at with Glacier. You know, it's good to see all these feeder leagues coming out, and they provide all this talent for the future.
Well, we're going to get a word now with Klaus Kivikas, who won here today. It was a dominant victory, light pretty much to flag. Only time he didn't lead in this race was when he was on pit road. He came onto pit road one lap earlier than Alexei Aloma. But Klaus, we talked, of course, about you in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans yesterday. We talked about you dominating here today at Suzuka. What a weekend it's been for you and Commander Sim Sports.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello.
All right, yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend. So won the DWC race, took a 1-2 in that. So yeah, it's been about as perfect as it could be. Although we didn't win the second Blancpain race yesterday, but yeah, still it's been pretty good.
For those of you who didn't see, of course, Commander Sim Sports a 1-2 in the final round of the 2015 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. Also, victory in the iRacing.com Petit Le Mans. But talk us through this race here today, Klaus, because it did seem to be that you were pushing very hard to break the toe to Alatalo and Aloma at the start of the event.
Yeah, I knew it was really important to break the toe, because if I didn't do that, then they might be able to leapfrog me during the pit stops. So breaking the toe allowed me to pull away and build an ice cap before the stops, so there was no chance of them leapfrogging me. So I pushed really hard on the first few laps and weaved a bit on the straights and stuff like that, and yeah, I got the toe broken.
You were able to come onto pit road in first place. Aloma was the only one that could go longer than you. Of course, Suzuka is a very difficult racetrack in terms of fuel consumption. Were you always thinking that you'd come in on this lap regardless of whether or not you were leading the race? Or did you have any alternate strategy in case Riku or Alexei were able to find their way past?
No, I think it's always best to just run as long as you have fuel for. So in default conditions I could have gone a lap longer, but it was really cold, so the lap times were really fast, and so I was burning more fuel than expected, so I had to come in a lap earlier.
Okay, well, before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks to our sponsor FSRC for sponsoring us for a couple of years now. Big thanks for that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Klaus Kivikas is your winner here today in the Finnish Sim Racing Championship. Gonna get a word now with Alexei Aloma. He stood by with the one and only Mr. Johnny Simone.
Thank you very much, Will. I'm here with Alexei Aloma. And Alexei, first of all, P2 in that race. Now, did you know that Riku, was somebody in your ear telling you that Riku had made those mistakes in the pit stop phase and that you were all but sealed P2 away when you came out of your box?
No, I went dark before the race started because I knew how much fuel I need. I didn't need any information during the race, so no, I didn't know anything.
Well, there you go. Perfect talent there, Will, at its best. But finally, Alexi, so you've got, one driver ahead of you, Klaus, who is incredible, as always. Riku behind. Of course you want to finish in first place, but I mean, what do you think is left for you to improve? Because 7 seconds away from the win is certainly not where you want to be, despite finishing in second place.
Yeah, before Klaus joined the series, I knew that I would be like the best or something like that. But then when Klaus joined, I knew that I cannot win this anymore. But yeah, he's just a little bit faster and more consistent. He doesn't really, he just drives like a robot. So yeah, I guess I should practice or something. But yeah, I don't know.
There you go, Will. Alexi Aloma in P2, another great result, up from 4th on the grid.
Yeah, and one final question, Alexi, before we let you go, of course. World Championship is done for another year. Are you planning to run in the Pro Series? Are you planning to run in the 2016 World Championship? Are you thinking of going down the wacky GT route and doing that World Championship instead?
Well, I don't have even the pro license, so yeah, I'm not going to drive in F1 car. But yeah, we are going to the Endurance Series for the next year for sure. And I would like to thank my sponsors or team sponsor, Kamasa Tools.
I'm not going to pronounce that, but thank you to them. Alexi Aloma, ladies and gentlemen, coming home in second place here today. We're going to get a word in 1 moment's time with third place driver, which is Riku Adatalo. We've got to mix them around. We're sharing content between the Finns and the English here. So the Finns and the English and of course the Australian, but but Johnny, what we saw here today was the fact that Alexi Aloma was clearly actually better than Alatalo. However, the issue was that Aloma couldn't find a way to break the toe the same way that Kubica did.
Yeah, exactly so. At the same time, we go to Riku's race. It was just a couple of mistakes in his pit stop phase that cost him a potential chance at second place. Then we go to his start where all he needed to do was just at least get a nose and battle Klaus for first place. I knew that once Klaus would lead into turn 1, he would never look back. So the same thing goes for Alexi, qualifying in 4th. That's not bad. I mean, look at how many drivers out there today. There's 40. Yes, he was in 4th place, but for a driver of his standard who needs to be, obviously, who wants to as well be winning races, he's going to try his best to maybe hopefully next time qualify near on the front row and take advantage of taking first place in the early stages of the race.
Well,
Hi, Will.
hello, it's Riku Adatalo. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
P3, how was your race?
As I said in the Finnish stream just now, I was very happy with the race, except for the pit stop. I first of all I couldn't find my pit limiter button because I had to change it before the race because the old one wasn't working. So I kind of missed that, and then I had to press the brake again when heading to the pit lane, and I lost a bit of time there. And then I decided to run over my lollipop man, and he's still in pain in the pit lane, lying down with a broken leg. So rest in peace. So I lost that lost me the 3 seconds that Alexi had when he came out of the pit lane. So that's pretty much the only big mistake in the race, and that was the decider between second and third place. So not too happy about that, but otherwise the race was very good.
You still get a podium. Rest in peace indeed to the virtual lollipop man, because they have feelings too. But you were still able to get a podium. You were still able to finish within 11 seconds of Kivika's race winner. We were just talking a moment ago about the fact that Aloma wasn't able to break the toe from you the same way that Kivika was able to break the toe from Aloma. So do you think that was a contributing factor for you being to stay within the mix at all today? The fact that, you were still able to stay right in the coattails of Aloma, allowing you to be there.
It was actually the other way around. I was in front of Aloma.
I know what I mean. Shut up. I know what I mean.
I was really hoping at the start of the race that I could hang on to Klaus, and if I had driven good lap times. I probably could have, but on my third lap I kind of messed up a few corners, and he was a half a second, 6/10 slower than Klaus, and I was the second behind after that lap. And then, yeah, I'm not a robot like Klaus, so I can't do consistent. I can't do within a hundredth of a second each lap. So after that, the draft was broken. I didn't quite have the pace to match his, so that was rest in peace as well.
Well, last question. The next time we're going to see you here is going to be when we head in 3 weeks' time up the mountain to Mount Panorama. Is it a track you're looking forward to?
Oh, Bathurst is next. Oh, nice. It's a fun track. I enjoy it. It's probably gonna be quite tough with the rough, I would imagine. I've never actually driven that combo there, so. But yeah, I really enjoy the coming down the hill. That's pretty much the funnest part of the track, and it's a fun track to drive on, as well as it provides pretty decent racing. So looking forward to it.
There we are. Ruku Alatalo coming home P number 3 here today. Yeah, Johnny?
Yeah, best combo at Bathurst has to be the DW12 and Mount Panorama. Obviously, Mount Panorama. That is one of the funnest combos I've ever raced in.
All about that realism.
In sim racing. Yeah, so I say it again.
All about that realism.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, considering that the IndyCar DW12 on the straights, I think we were losing about 15 kilometers an hour because it was scraping across the bumps. But it was still fun anyway. So, in the end, it's good to see, as always, iRacing giving us a wide variety of racetracks.
It's the best with the Skippy, in my opinion. I'll just leave it out there.
Yeah, Skippy. Actually, that's good as well.
Indeed. You'll probably see that on Sunday on Monday Night Skippies at some point soon. Rick Alatalo, thank you very much. Yolo Atari is here. He comes from P number 4. Johnny, take it away.
Hi Yari, good job today. And P4, up 1 position from 5th. Were you feeling under pressure there at the end from Tommy, almost being passed there by the pressure from behind?
Well, he was actually, well, thanks first of all. He was actually really strong in the SS on the first section of the track. But then going to Degner and Hairpin and so on, he was actually losing a bit of time. So I wasn't. I knew if I made a mistake, I would be dead. But anyway, I wasn't really scared.
Now, are you confident in the roof car? Would you prefer another GT vehicle if they opened up the rules to be able to run any car?
Well, I hate all the GT3 cars. So.
Alright, fair enough. Well, there you go. Any last comments as well? Next round, it's going to be tough, obviously, at Mountain Panorama. So, I mean, setup's going to be important there as well. The same thing at Suzuka. How are you going to approach the next round?
The same way I've been approaching all, Interlagos on this race. So, I join up 2 hours before, take some sets, make some changes, and then it's go. But Bathurst, it's really easy to make a Bathurst set.
There you go, straight line speed, of course. And there you go, Will Yari with a fairly straightforward, practical sense towards the series. And P4, you can't really complain. He's faring really well so far.
He is indeed. We have got one more driver who we're going to have a chat with in a moment. That is going to be the driver of Jonas Porka. But before we do that, let's have a look at our driver of the day here on RaceSpotTV. And this is Joni Bakma. Start again. Joni Hagner. He qualified P4, had a penalty, dropped to last position in the qualifier race, came back up to P8, Johnny, started 15 in the feature race, came home in P number 7.
Yeah, great racecraft as well today. I mean, very close, a bit of contact between a few drivers as well. But Joni came out on top of that battle, 15 seconds behind 6th place. So he really took advantage of where his potential was from his starting position in 15th. In Suzuka, if you're making up grid spots at a racetrack like this, it's extremely difficult. Yes, I know we've seen in the past, the likes of Kimi Räikkönen, another Finnish man who's won a race from way down the order in 05. But at the same time, Suzuka's really tight and twisty, so when I mean it's difficult to make your way up through the order at this racetrack, it's because only the best can, and it's because you have such great racecraft and precision to maneuver yourself around the Suzuka International Circuit.
I agree, completely agree. I remember Scott Dixon. He's not Finnish. He did actually, though, start from last place to actually win at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course once. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. In fact, we've got Joni Hagner here. Joni, driver today. Hello.
I'm a driver of the race.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
You get a trophy as well.
Yeah.
Can I get a candy from it?
Yes.
Something?
Just because you asked, yes. How was your day? Take us through it. 'Cause it's been up and down, penalty ridden, driving through field, overtaking people. You brought the car home in one piece somehow. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, it helped quite a lot because in qualifying race I get a very good start and get like P21 to P15 in first lap, and on final race it was very good start also, so I get 5th position on turn 1. So after that it was much harder to pass people because they were faster or same pace than me, so I saved just a bit fuel on the train was ahead of me, and short pitted 2 guys, and yeah.
Well, it's been an entertaining, crazy race for you here today, but next time we see you, it will be when we head up to the mountain, Mount Panorama, on the 1st of November. You're hoping, I presume, for a little bit of a quieter week, then?
I don't know. Mount Panorama is a great racetrack with a lot of passing opportunities. So it's one of my favorite tracks. So there is only one thing that is bad for me, and it's the car. Not for my driving style, but otherwise it's good.
Well, congratulations. We will sort you out next time. That is Joni Hagner. Got one. No, that's it. They're all done. Completely done. So it's time for us to say goodbye, Johnny. You can finally go to bed. And yes. We'll be back here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive in just a couple of hours' time with your favourite music. There we are. Let me put it on for you. It is the Skip Barber 2K World Cup.
Boom.
Wait, boom. That's where you do it.
That's it. Love it. And Skip Barber 2K World Cup, as always, an incredible series. We'll look forward to that later. As usual, we'll on RaceSpotTV YouTube channel and iRacingLive.
Yep, indeed so. So this has been a special presentation of RaceSpotTV on iRacingLive. Our coverage today has been brought to you by the Finnish Sim Racing Association. This has been the 3rd round of the Finnish Sim Racing Championship. For myself, Will Vincent, from Johnny Simone, we'll talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.